If you think your only options are AA, rehab or white knuckling it, you've been lied to. Look, you're not powerless, you don't need a higher power, and you don't need to sign up to the life sentence of AA meetings. And you definitely don't need to be locked away in rehab for 30 days. That is all a myth. My name's Luke Worsfold and I've been sober for over 8 years without ever stepping foot into rehab or an AA meeting. And in this video, I'm going to break down why those approaches aren't a good fit for most functioning professionals and what to do instead. Look, let's be real for a minute. If willpower alone worked, you wouldn't be here right now, would you? You're not stupid, you've got discipline, you probably built a career or a business, hit deadlines, juggled a million things. You don't lack willpower. But when it comes to drinking or using drugs, it's like something else just takes over. You tell yourself not tonight, then boom, a stressful day, an argument with your partner, a Friday night, and there you go again. Pouring a drink, hitting up a mate, telling yourself you'll just have one. Then the next morning comes the shame, the guilt, the regret. You swear you'll do better, but this cycle is exhausting, right? So let me tell you something that most people never say out loud. This isn't a willpower problem, it's a pattern problem. Now here's what's really going on under the surface in this pattern. There's a loop in your brain that runs and it goes something like this. First you have the trigger, something sets you off. Maybe that's a stressful day at work or boredom or pressure or even just having the opportunity. Or it could even be something like driving past your usual off license. Then comes the cravings, your brain says, I need a drink to calm down, I've earned it. Lastly, there's a response. You pour yourself a glass of wine or beer or have a beer, and then for a few minutes it all disappears. But it's not actually solving the problem, it's just putting off those feelings until they come back louder later on. Now here's the key thing, you're not making those decisions with the logical part of your brain. This isn't about being weak, it's about being human, because your brain has linked all of those emotions and stress with drinking or using drugs. It's become automatic, like muscle memory. You don't think about it anymore, it just kind of happens. And that's why I don't tell my clients to try harder. I show them how to bring that pattern, that whole loop, into the light. It's something that we call the mental map, where you sit down and map the whole pattern out. When do you drink? What happened before that? What are you telling yourself in that moment? What's the before and after the drinking? It's about getting crystal clear on your triggers, cravings and justifications. Look, it's simple but powerful. You don't need more willpower, you need more awareness, more tools, and a new way of thinking about that. And that's exactly what I help my clients build, is a step-by-step plan without shame, without flipping their whole life upside down. Because day in, day out, I help functioning professionals get their drink or drug use under control using our unique addiction control program. So if you want to see how we can help you, just click the link below in the description, book a one-on-one call directly with me, and I look forward to talking to you. Alright, let's talk about something a lot of people are thinking, but don't really say it out loud. You know something's wrong, you know it's getting worse, but the thought of going to rehab or walking into an AA meeting and saying, hi, I'm Luke, I'm an alcoholic, just doesn't feel like you. And listen, I get it, I've been there. When I was struggling, I remember thinking, I've still got a job, I'm not drinking in the mornings, I haven't lost everything, so how can it be that bad? I told myself I could handle it by myself. But here's the truth, you don't need to lose everything to need help. And no, help doesn't have to mean going to rehab or group meetings. So let me ask you this, why doesn't rehab work for everyone? Firstly, I've got a lot of respect for people, it does help and the 12 steps have stood the test of time, but a lot of the clients I work with, people just like you, say the same thing. AA doesn't feel right, I don't want to stand up and say I believe in a higher power and I'm powerless, that just feels like giving up. Look, that powerless language, it can feel like it strips away your identity, especially when you're used to being in charge, holding down a career, running a business, building a team. You're not powerless, you're just stuck in a pattern. And once we map out that pattern, we can break it. Then there's rehab. Now, don't get me wrong, rehab has its place. But for someone like you who's still functioning, who's got kids, a career, a mortgage, disappearing from your life for 30 days just isn't realistic. And even if you could step away, a lot of rehab feels like hitting the pause button on life. Without learning to deal with the real life triggers once you're back, it can be a nightmare. I had one client, let's call him Mark. He was high up in finance, travelled a lot, had 2 kids, and he told me rehab felt over the top. I wasn't that bad, but I knew I needed help. That's the sweet spot where most of my clients are. Not on the streets, not falling apart, but scared of what might happen if nothing changes. Alright, so we've talked about what doesn't work, willpower, AA, locking yourself away in rehab. So let's talk about what does. I want to introduce you to a different path, one that fits around your life, your career, your family, and your goals. It's called the Addiction Control Program, and it's what I wish I had back when I was in your shoes. Now, here's the truth. You don't need AA or rehab to take back control. You just need the right structure, tools, and support that's built around you and your life. This is an 8-week program that's designed for people who are still functioning but quietly struggling. It's not group meetings, it's not fluffy therapy, it's structured, it's practical, and it works. Look, you get one-to-one private addiction counselling sessions with me or one of our trained counsellors. You get short, to-the-point videos that you can watch anytime through our client portal. And you get worksheets that help you make sense of your patterns, triggers, and emotional drivers. Now, we're not just helping you stop drinking or using drugs. We're helping you understand why you did it in the first place, what triggers it, and how to build a life where you don't need it anymore. Now, if you don't want to do it alone, and this is resonating with you, and you're a functioning professional who doesn't want rehab or AA, but you know something needs to change, click the link below and book a free call, and we'll map out your pattern and what's keeping you stuck, and we'll walk you through how you can break it without blowing up your life. So click the link below and book a one-on-one call directly with me.